Chris Condon and his friends go to an old mental hospital to spend the night on a dare. This location is a little different than the others on this list because it's rather well known and has become somewhat of a party area for high schoolers to hang out in. With this in mind, it's no surprise when Chris's group comes across some other random people who want to join. By midnight, the group is pretty large and everyone seems to be getting along well. They set up a tent and prepare to spend the night making new friends. A few hours later, they wake up to a huge blaze instead.
Hey, the fire department's on its way.
No.
Be quiet, guys. You can hear this. It's full, buddy. Full.
Police are outside arresting everyone who leaves the building. So Chris and his friends stay put for a while and then barely manage to sneak away. At times they are surrounded by pitch black and are too afraid to use their lights. They're almost caught multiple times and ultimately never return to the location again. My biggest question now is what actually caused the fire. Vijama is taking the 24-hour challenge in a haunted house that burned down 10 years ago, claiming the lives of an entire family inside. All throughout the night they feel nervous and on edge, as if they're being watched by something that does not appreciate their presence at all.
No, I heard something in there.
Despite feeling persistently watched, the two friends manage to fall asleep for a while. Then this YouTuber is suddenly awakened by his friend, who claims to have heard something.
He was asleep, bro. I just heard a massive bang, so I'm gonna see what it is.
Vijama looks really tired and worn down during this scene, which makes me think it could be real. They're checking out the room where the noise was coming from, when suddenly they feel like they're being watched again.
That's probably the gas thing.
What the hell was that? Alex?
It could be the camera lighting, but I feel like I definitely see a shadowy figure retract into the doorway as soon as they turn around. Watch this part again in slow motion and tell me if you see any strange fluttering movements in the doorway. The cameraman bravely goes into the room where the shadow last retreated and finds a very tiny unnatural doorway leading to who knows where. At this point, they've seen enough and quickly exit without completing the challenge or finding out where the narrow entrance goes. A YouTuber named Doritos Reaction is doing a 24-hour challenge in a relatively normal-looking hotel, except it's supposedly haunted by the spirits of numerous children. Now, while wandering around the hallways late at night, he wants to see if the rumors are true, and apparently he gets his wish.
Was that a kid?
Dorito manages to catch the dark silhouette of a boy running down the hallway at full speed. Notice how the boy's footsteps don't make a sound as he sprints away. Dorito rushes back to the elevator, only to find the doors opening and closing on their own, so he takes the stairs back to his room instead and doesn't leave for the rest of the night. I think this may have been one of his friends pretending to be a ghost, but then again, I'd like to get your thoughts. Hey, It's Liam is a British YouTuber doing a 24-hour challenge in a local abandoned sanatorium. He and his friends climb through an open window and waste no time exploring a series of long interconnected hallways for whatever they can find. The floor is covered with scattered papers. It's definitely creepy, but they decide to press on. They venture downstairs and find lots of graffiti on the wall. Strange messages like "Don't listen to the voices" and "How long will they keep me down here?" It's unclear whether or not these words were written by patients before the facility closed down. Now midnight is fast approaching and Liam hears a noise nearby. They bravely go to investigate as a group, and this is what they find.
I don't know what.
Alright, come on. We have to get the out.
A door that was open moments ago slams in front of them. Then, as they are trying not to panic and decide what to do next, a scream interrupts their thoughts and sends them fleeing. Let me know if you think the scream was real or edited. Ever felt like you were being watched? These three boys definitely had reason to. Posted by the Comics Man to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the uploader writes, "Some dudes go to the Danakil Desert or a park. What is in the first frame? The video shows three kids getting ready to do some parkour, everyday kid stuff, but not far beyond in the background. Look at what is watching them from a nearby tree. The figure appears like a silhouette and gives off serious Slenderman vibes. The ominous way it's lurking there makes the otherwise innocent parkour video intensely creepy. You can vaguely see the figure again at a distance at 1 minute and 43 seconds. It continues to stand there in the clump of trees, and again around 3 minutes in. What is this thing? Do these boys have a lurker? Nowhere is safe." D-Master Flex is camping overnight in a haunted cemetery. They get bored and let their guard down long enough to play a game.
What the? What the?
Yo, hold on.
The tower of Jenga blocks collapses seemingly all by itself. The tower was clearly built on a level surface, and there appears to be no strong winds to blow it over. I guess it could have just been a string, but if not, then this incident is almost certainly paranormal. Kevin LaShawn and his large group of friends feel fairly safe doing a 24-hour challenge in a mental asylum that's supposed to be haunted. They aren't expecting to find much, and for a while they don't. However, two experiments stand out in particular. First, they invite the ghosts to play a game of cards with them by setting up flashlights in a semicircle. The flashlights stay turned off during most of this experiment, but they do seem to repeatedly respond when one person in particular comes to the table. Perhaps this person has a natural tendency to attract spirits more than the others.
I guess they don't want you to play. Come over here and sit by me. They want you to play.
Whoa,
Come over.
these flashlights are turning on by themselves.
Later, Kevin is playing with an app on his phone that is supposed to communicate with ghosts when he gets some pretty interesting responses.
Is anybody in here? What's your name? My name's Kevin. What's your name?
Even if this app is programmed to say scripted phrases at random intervals, I do think it's odd that it says something similar to Kevin's name shortly after he introduces himself. Overall, Kevin is unable to verify that this location is haunted, though many of his viewers have decided it most likely is. Let me know what you think about this entry, and what other experiments Kevin and his friends could have done to summon any spirits. The Bucket List Boys are an adventurous group of friends who are excited about taking the 24-hour challenge in an old haunted hospital. Most of the video is relatively normal until night falls and the atmosphere suddenly changes from playful to serious.
Justin, I know that was you. Dude, what are you talking about? Right here.
Wait,
Shut up.
that wasn't you?
No, that was you. Stop playing it.
They quickly grow more and more nervous from mysterious sounds until eventually they just want to leave. They're trying to figure out a way when something that's just way out of place pedals across their path.
You remember which way it is?
No.
Did you hear that?
What?
What the? Oh, no.
A small right tricycle rides by, and sends the Bucket List Boys running in the opposite direction at full speed. They're in such a hurry to escape whatever's behind them that one of them almost falls down a dark hole with no visible bottom. They barely make it out in time and never look back. Hopefully this was just a prank and nothing really followed them outside. Derek Desso Daly finds himself in a darkened cemetery on a 24-hour challenge with some friends. There's only some basic snacks and a small flashlight to split between the three of them, but they feel confident nothing serious will happen. Derek barely gets into the cemetery, and already he hears strange sounds that I don't think can easily be faked.
I know that I don't see anything past this way. Oh, what's that sound? Hey man, there's somebody walking right there, bro. Where?
Derek claims to see someone off in the distance, though I personally don't see anything. Still, he turns off his flashlight and quietly walks away to avoid detection. Other than that, nothing else happens until around 3 a.m., at which point the strange sounds return, even louder this time.
Yeah, we have a Ouija board and we have
They start playing with the homemade Ouija board and think they see something move in the trees. Then they think they hear footsteps. It's hard to say if they are just being paranoid or really experiencing something paranormal, since nothing special is caught on camera. Later though, when they begin chanting a spell to speak with any nearby spirits, I can definitely hear what they are talking about. Eventually, one of them gets separated from the group and is covered in red when he returns. He claims to have fallen, but something about his story sounds off.
John, what happened?
Something fell.
Something falling on its own seems quite unlikely, making the claim of paranormal activity even more plausible. Our next entry reunites us with Dark Ghost, a Russian paranormal investigator who has encountered some truly terrifying entities. However, this latest video quite possibly takes the cake in what he himself describes as the scariest house he has investigated. An email with coordinates brought Dark Ghost to the location in question. According to the message's text, the girl who sent it claimed an elderly couple once resided there and experienced countless disturbing occurrences, mainly from the home's basement. Among them were unexplained noises, including full conversations and something attempting to open the basement from below. After the couple passed, the home was inherited by their relatives. However, they refused to move in, and the home has been abandoned ever since. Dark Ghost's investigation starts off quiet, and he states he hasn't experienced anything, and it is already reaching 11:30 p.m. He then proceeds to set up stationary cameras, and that is when the activity starts. Not long after he leaves the room, the static cam witnesses a glass move on its own, sliding close to the edge of the shelf it is on. None of the other glasses are disturbed, and it wasn't knocked by anything, as it wouldn't slide in such a manner if it were. It is almost as if something is either pushing or pulling it. It is then tipped off the edge and breaks. Dark Ghost was in the middle of explaining to his camera what he did when he heard the glass break, and that's when things get really crazy. Without warning, the entire house begins to aggressively shake, enough to send bricks collapsing from the ceiling. This lasts only a few seconds before ending just as suddenly. Dark Ghost, well stunned, thankfully is uninjured and moves in to assess the damage. As he is inspecting the kitchen, where the static camera is, he is startled by what sounds like a floorboard being pushed up, followed by several loud bangs from the other room. They sound either like a fist pounding against a wall or floor, or very heavy footsteps, but it is difficult to tell. Inspired by what has happened, Dark Ghost decides to start an EVP session in an attempt to communicate with whatever is there.
Кто вы?
He starts by asking if anyone from the spirit world is present, and despite receiving no immediate answer, eventually the device comes back with "help us." He continues to press for the entity to identify itself, and soon after it responds with, "We've been trapped." When asked where, it responds, "He trapped us down here." Earlier, when Dark Ghost heard the floorboard move, it has been covered in rubble. It again requests help and asks Dark Ghost to open the basement. However, 30 seconds after this request, something else appears to come through and say, "Don't open it," followed by, "They're lying." Clearly, there are multiple spirits communicating, each with contradicting requests. After several more requests to open the basement, an entity replies with a chilling phrase, "I will deliberately eat your heart."
Я сейчас, друзья, специально...
By now, it is clear one of the entities there has malicious intent against Dark Ghost, and while he initially states he will not open the basement, and receiving some talk back as a result, curiously gets the better of him and he decides to lift the floorboard and venture down. At first he attempts to use an RC car fitted with a camera, but unfortunately the camera battery dies. Despite his better judgment, he ventures down himself. After a few minutes of crawling without incident, he stumbles across a small bone in the dirt. As he takes a closer look, a sudden noise as if something hitting metal can be heard in front of him. At the same moment on his static camera, left a hole to the basement, a shadow figure can be seen against the cupboards in the kitchen. As it vanishes, he emerges and claims to have heard hissing from below. As he is working to get the boards back in place, a very loud hiss sends him rushing out of the hole. This proves to be all he can take, and all for his safety, he returns the board to the floor and decides to leave it for the night. Something in the home clearly wants out, and to cause harm, but one must wonder who the other poor soul trapped with it is, willing to warn others not to fall for the lies the other spirit says. D-Doc Michael is a Korean-based YouTube channel run by duo Tichi and Michael. The pair travels to various alleged haunted locations across South Korea and document their experiences. On March 21st, 2021, Michael ventures alone to what is said to be the grounds of a passed away shaman. The first 2.5 minutes of the exploration are rather quiet, but that changes when he finds what looks like a small office or reception desk. He is checking out some paintings left there, and he is startled when he smells what resembles ash. This could explain the box of matches on the table, but he gets a fright when a knife left on a plate starts moving on its own. This causes him to flee the room briefly, before he returns and tosses the knife outside. Later, after cautiously passing in front of a mirror, he peers into the next room and is startled to see what appears to be candlelight coming from the other side of some faded glass. As he discovers, to his relief, it is just a street light. His live chat starts frantically typing to look at the ceiling. Confused, he looks all over the ceiling but finds nothing. But that's when they tell him to look at it through the mirror. He does so, but again finds nothing. However, the chat seems to have seen something on the ceiling through the mirror when he passed by it earlier. It's hard to tell if there is actually something there, but maybe you can see it for yourself. Deeper into the house, he sees a roll-out poster sticking out around the door. Much to his shock, it appears to be lightly moving up and down, as if trying to roll itself. It gets a good way up before dropping down again, leaving the startled man to slowly creep around. On the parchment is what appears to be a caricature of a being or symbol. Eventually, he starts asking if whatever is there will talk to him. A loud sliding noise startles him. The investigation escalates when lights in the room starts flickering on and off without explanation. His voice becomes more distressed at this point, and he is clearly reaching the end of his nerve. However, he ventures into the room where the light came from to investigate, only to find nothing there, and that the electricity doesn't even work. Despite seemingly confirming this, he finds another flickering light in the next room. As Michael tries to peer around the corner, a section of the wall falls and almost lands on top of him. Clearly, something doesn't want him around. He makes a quick exit from the room, then returns to apologize and ask to talk. However, he doesn't stay long, seemingly compelled to another room. There, he finds a photograph left on a table. Could this be who he has been encountering? The creepiest encounter of the entire night is when Michael peers into a dark room, only to see a figure moved in the shadows.
Huh?
The figure resembles a shoulder, with its neck and head obscured. Something remains within these walls, and Michael is clearly convinced he has communicated with something. Hopefully the duo will return together and conduct another investigation in the future. Alberto Del Arco is a paranormal investigator based out of Mexico, another veteran of YouTube paranormal channels. He has been posting investigations since 2009 and has amassed over 2 million subscribers and nearly 256 million views. In his latest video, he and his team visited an abandoned school almost completely reclaimed by the surrounding woods. Encounters begin rather quickly upon their entry, as they hear the voice of a girl say "Aquí." This roughly translates to "in here." Could the spirit of a former student be leading them to her location? Chillingly enough, the apparition of a little girl briefly appeared in front of Arco as the ghost was speaking, then disappears as the flashlight is pointed at her. Could this be the same ghost who was speaking? The team walks into the room where the apparition appeared and finds several desks, shelves, and even old school books in poor condition. As they continue to search the room, another figure is seen moving silently past a window to Arco's left. It is hard to see on its own, but the crew thankfully enhanced the image in editing. The figure appears humanoid, albeit cloudy and disfigured. A minute later, Arco captures what appears to be an orb briefly appearing on camera, moving from right to left.
Un mapa antiguo. Wow.
As the team moves to another part of the building, faint laughs can be heard coming from the woods. They all hear it and pause.
Hey, soy algo atrás allá.
Considering they are in a wooded area, the possibility of some sort of wild animal cannot be forgotten, but considering all the activity they have gotten already, could this be a spirit laughing at them from the woods? The second possibility seems more likely, when the team hears a man scream soon after.
Los baños. Uy. ¿Oyeron?
This time the sound is clear and resembles a grown man rather than an animal. It is also louder than the laugh, as if it is closer to their position as they are about to enter a bathroom. The team is startled back by a dog barking. While unseen, it is close to where they are. They walk around to see if they can find where the barks are coming from, but find no such luck. However, it is likely just a stray dog who has made the derelict building its home and is trying to protect themselves. Not wanting to go up against the dog, the team ventures away from the building and into the woods. They soon stumble upon a second structure. As they enter, more dogs still barking from inside, so they proceed with caution. Over the barks, Arco hears what sounds like a woman crying. This is terrifying for anyone who knows the legend of La Llorona from Mexican folklore. It is now Arco asking the crew to turn off their lights to look. Dog howls can be heard resembling the crying, but a distinct woman's cry can also be heard if listened closely. As the investigation comes to a close, Arco leaves a static night camera at the location overnight and captures an apparition floating in the room above some chairs and desks. Were all of these encounters related to one another? Or did they happen to be lucky to find multiple different entities at once? Twin Paranormal is a channel started by two brothers, Ryan and River. They first encountered the paranormal when they and their parents moved into an old house in Reno, Nevada. Since then, they have been dedicated to finding answers. Since their channel started in April 2018, they gained 91.4k subscribers and have released hundreds of videos detailing their investigations. Their videos are of high production quality, resembling feature documentaries akin to ghost adventures. Furthermore, they have various series on the go pertaining to different themes. In January 2021, the crew of Twin Paranormal released their first series regarding family hauntings. By request, they came to the aid of the Kemp family of Las Vegas. The couple have several objects in their home who belonged to passed away relatives, something they believe could be a link to the haunting. As explained by Nicole and her partner Matthew, her daughter has been speaking to unseen figures. She has been observed blowing kisses to the air and saying she is talking to someone named Lean. This has led to speculation she is speaking to Matthew's passed away grandmother, Colleen. Matthew explains he was close to his grandmother, but there was tension between her and Matthew's parents. Her passing had a profound negative impact on Matthew, and he descended into depression. Now, strange things are happening in the Kemp family home. Two pieces of memorabilia belonging to Colleen, including a pair of taxidermy longhorns, which she loved and cherished, and a sign reading Munchkin, which used to hang up in the bar she owned. Nicole discussed how the strange happenings were infrequent at first, but are now occurring several times a day. She also started developing severe anxiety shortly after moving in, resulting in panic attacks and at one point a seizure, despite never having them before nor having a history of epilepsy in the family. Furthermore, Nicole's son started sleepwalking, often having night terrors when happening. The crew starts off their investigation simply by introducing themselves and asking a series of questions without equipment. Not long after this session begins.
Can you make a noise in here for us?
What? Did you hear something?
Yeah. A couple knocks.
A mysterious knock is heard from nearby. This proves some sort of intelligence and what is haunting the home, as it is right after the team asks for it to make a noise. Intrigued, Ryan puts on headphones to listen through a parabolic microphone and asks why the entity is here. A faint whisper can be heard, followed immediately by one of the team's devices going off. Unfortunately, it is hard to hear what is being whispered, or whether it was the device itself.
Why is she the only one able to see you?
Religion.
As Ryan is asking why only the daughter can see it, the answer he gets doesn't make any sense. Ryan asks if it intends to hurt the family, and warns if it is, then it isn't welcome.
Are you here to hurt this family? Because if you are, then you are not welcome here. Oh my, just got the chills.
Through the EVP device, the team captures a thump sound, like something dropped or was brushed against. Furthermore, the team starts to feel chills and a drastic shift in the energy of the home. Ryan soon gets another intelligent response when naming Nicole and Matthew out loud. After saying Matthew's name, a faint voice can be heard saying yeah.
Her boyfriend's name is Matt.
The crew is able to hear it with their own ears, and all visibly reacted to hearing it.
Are you connected to Matt, Nicole's boyfriend?
When asking if the entity is connected to Nicole or Matt, through the EVP, Ryan hears what sounds like, "I can't." All this occurs within the first 10 minutes of the investigation. None of the crew's reactions come off as fake or forced, and all remain relatively calm throughout the first session, which makes these events quite believable in my opinion. Some rather unexplained paranormal activity was caught on video when a ghost hunter by the name of Tracy puts their camera on the floor of a haunted house. one of the many haunted places in an unnamed ghost town they're exploring all alone. Soon, strange noises are heard as a shadow figure slowly plays against the wall. This might be an actual shadow figure, or someone walking across the window to create the appearance of one. The noises make sound like they could be special effects played from a speaker. Nothing like an old village to cruise for some ghosts. Published in September of 2015, this footage purportedly shows a ghost near some old village homes. It's unclear where this video was shot, so it could be any old village anywhere in the world. Let's explore it. The clip takes in the surrounding area of these homes. Nothing appears out of place, although the homes seem to be abandoned. The camera follows some birds on a roof before panning down to capture some ants on the ground. The shot pulls up from the grass and mud and pans around the area. That's when you see it. Too quick to make out any details, an apparition in all black appears on screen for a brief moment, standing off in the distance on some pavement. The figure is still as the shot moves around. What is this? Do you think it's a ghost too? That's at least what the uploader claims. Many have debated whether it is or not, and with no other footage, it will most likely remain a mystery for the foreseeable future. This rare footage of a sewer monster is brief, but frightening. The video seems to capture a glimpse of something large with a tail launching around the underground. The black and white adds to the creepiness of the footage, when suddenly something the size of a kangaroo moves swiftly past and out of sight. Although not quite as unsettling in movement as a creepy critter might be, whatever this strange being is, it looks completely out of place in the sewage system. Any idea what this strange creature could be? A YouTuber named Tanner Shelton is trying to clear his mind by making a TikTok video at the mall when he accidentally records a phantom figure that disappears after a brief but horrifying moment.
Hey guys, so I decided to just get out of the house today. I think it's probably good for me to keep my mind off of things and just...
She has long black hair over her eyes and a white outfit, and the way she is rooted in place hardly looks like an ordinary shopper going about their day. He admittedly does give her ample time to go back around the corner, so this could have been planned. Something's Watching You. Published by Paranormal Instincts in January of 2022, a girl was walking her dog at night in the woods when she captured something observing her amongst the trees. The video clip shows the girl walking along a dirt path in the darkness. As her camera pans to the side, a tall, gaunt, pale figure dressed in dark clothes is spotted, standing next to a tree watching her. Although she doesn't seem to see it, her dog senses someone there. He stops and looks in the figure's direction on full alert. She has to urge the dog to come along.
Come on. Come on.
When she pans the camera back toward the same tree, the figure is no longer there. They continue on their walk, hopefully without any further encounter. But I imagine after watching this video back, there will be no further midnight walks either. Flickering lights are one thing, but a switch visibly turning off of its own accord? That's a whole other story. Posted to the paranormal subreddit by Nutzak, the Redditor writes about this unexplained encounter that his brother caught on camera. According to Nutzak, his brother was home alone, likely checking on his family's dog Oscar, when suddenly the hallway lights started doing their own thing. He recorded the incident as it continued, and this is what he captured. Nutzak states that he lived in the house for 2 years and has always felt strange vibes, but never seen anything firsthand. He writes, "Now after watching the video countless times, I am stumped and believe there is something beyond our knowledge happening here. 2 switches control this hallway light. Both you can see in the video. One is right next to the guy and the other is at the end of the hallway on the left. According to Nutsack, you can see the light switch nearby turn about halfway down, which, as the Redditor writes, would be impossible to recreate. Next, it flicks off entirely, turning the hallway light off. This one you can see as clear as day. Some are all in with the paranormal theory, but there's always a skeptic among us. And this time it's Slick Air who states a combination of loose wiring and a faulty switch can cause this. Others in the thread suggest not even faulty switches can flip off of their own accord. What do you choose to believe? There's nothing creepier than when your food moves on its own. Posted to TikTok by Jake M. to Pat, a woman is seen placing several small bowls out on a table for dinner. She notices one of the bowls twisting and sliding around on its own. She picks it up and wipes the bottom, thinking it might be that the bowl is wet. Placing it back, it still seems to twist for a moment. Is this just moisture at play? Or do we have a hungry ghost on our hands? Something in this pizzeria has had enough. Posted to TikTok by Flaming Belladonna 3. This short clip shows what happens when you anger the pizza gods. The clip shows several workers standing around in the kitchen. On a pizza belt to the right, a pizza flipper and a slicer are sitting on the top belt. As the girls chat, the slicer suddenly shoots off the shelf and knocks one of them in the head. How in the world could this happen? Some think the workers angered a ghost by putting pineapple on the pizza. Others, like Jonathan Zwar, suggest that the slicer was on the conveyor and probably was pushing against the metal lip, causing it to be propelled when the tension released. Many in the comments, however, would rather focus on the danger of that slicer. The 509 Grim Knight writes, that could have easily been in Final Destination. So now that all the facts are in, what do you think? Is this an angry pizza ghost or an angry conveyor belt? In 2019, an allegedly real supernatural creature sighting video emerged from Sindh, Pakistan. According to villagers, this bizarre humanoid was caught entering houses and attempting to devour them. They all formed a group to chase it with sticks down the street into the night. While dodging blows at exactly 7 seconds, the creature looks to reveal a furry face with all red eyes. However, I think this looks like a mask worn by somebody pretending to be a monster. Maybe the villagers were making a fake video, or maybe in their mass panic they were really fooled into believing this monster existed. I'll keep an eye out for similar sightings around Pakistan, but I don't think I'll find many like this one because, well, it probably isn't real. If I'm wrong though, and plenty of people who've seen this video think that I am, then this creature sighting would be absolutely horrifying to have caught on camera. I wish they had a longer recording of the incident. And you can see it's clearly the upper half of a young girl who is dressed in old-fashioned clothes from another time period. She is floating in midair as she curiously peeks in on the 2 children to see what they are doing. One of the girls still doesn't see the ghost. She shouts at something that's on television and accidentally startles the ghost away. The girl with the camera follows the ghost as it retreats. The ghost instantly teleports and now stares at them from the top of the steps. The scared girls run out of the house screaming. They stop only for a second to turn around from the street. They can see the ghost girl walking across the left window on the top floor. It vanishes and then suddenly appears on the bottom floor in less than a second. They scream even louder and take off again. A TikTok video gets really creepy when some scary moments are caught on tape. A ghost opens the door, or at least that's what this scary TikTok moment was, according to Shimei 57, who is sitting on the floor of her apartment when someone enters unannounced. I don't hear any footsteps after the door opens, no bags getting put down, so maybe it was a ghost after all, but the scariest moment of all is yet to come. The laughter of a little ghost girl seems like it's coming from up close, and the creepy TikTok video abruptly ends. Either something paranormal has entered her house, or this video was edited to make it appear to be haunted. I think this video could be paranormal, but more evidence is needed to help me make a final decision. An adventurer from India goes exploring an abandoned house to see if it's really as haunted as they say. Within less than 2 minutes of entering the forsaken building, the explorer has his answer.
करके तो उसी जगह पर ये
A heavy negative energy looms in the air. All the rooms look the same, even the last one, except it has something extra waiting inside.
वो देखिए वो क्या चीज़ खड़ी है
A figure stands in the corner, and at 4 minutes and 25 seconds, a volley of ghost orbs seem to rush out of its silhouette frame upon being found. Orbs continue to dance all around as the figure inches towards with its head down. They continue for half a minute and only stop when the figure crosses into the next room. At no other point in the video do so many of these appear, only here when its presence is nearby. When he looks into the next room, the orbs have stopped and the figure is gone. The encounter is over, and he is left wondering the meaning of what he just saw. A kid is checking out his loose tooth in the mirror when his reflection appears to move away before he does. It happens in a split second, so you have to look closely to see it. Maybe it's just the angle, but the reflection really does appear to lean away while the child himself remains stationary. Everything from an optical illusion to a haunted mirror has been proposed with no concrete answer. So if you know the proper explanation, then be sure to let me know. This video begins with a man approaching and yelling at these two teenagers. The man seems very upset and appears to be holding a large rock.
We're just walking. Oh, yeah, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're both intimidating little and I don't get intimidated easy.
What have we done to you?
Don't you come me.
Don't touch me.
He tells the teenagers to leave immediately, but they are unsure what they've done wrong. The man never seems to give a clear answer, but repeatedly tells them to take off, still while holding the rock. He swings back at one point, but luckily never uses it. What's really scary about this video is how unpredictable this man is, and how he seems to be reacting like this towards the two friends for simply walking down the street. This not-so-smart intruder's attempted entering was thwarted by a much smarter doorbell. When this stranger attempted to break into this home in Sydney Hills District, where a woman and her child were alone inside, the man is captured on several security cameras, staking out the premises, ringing the doorbell and waiting, before peering into the windows and trying the door handle several times.
Hello?
Hello. Hi. Are you...
Wrong house, hello. Yeah, no, it's wrong house, sorry.
When the homeowner finally responds to the man's attempted break-in via the Ring doorbell, the homeowner's voice obviously scares the man, who quickly rushes off apologizing and claiming he had the wrong house. There's nothing better than outsmarting an intruder. Hopefully he didn't try again later. A Reddit user named Necromimi posted this CCTV of a ghost captured at her friend's home. A translucent figure walks back and forth from one side of the room to the other multiple times, often fading from sight about midway across and reappearing a few feet away. After a while, it becomes slower and moves in place, eventually fading away into an orb that floats up towards the camera and disappears. The remarkable timing of this event rules out any possibility of a glitch, which makes me suspect that this was either some clever editing or truly paranormal. Earl Kirkendall captures a bright light in the sky, but it's not a meteor, lightning, or an unidentified flying device. It's his poor neighbor's house erupting. This video is terrifying because of how calm everything is before, during, and after. There's no warning signs beforehand, and seconds later, you'd never know a family's entire livelihood has gone up in flames. Even scarier, a cause for the incident has yet to be determined, meaning anyone in the neighborhood could be next. A YouTuber named Charles M is checking out an old house for sale in Las Vegas. that was supposedly owned by the mafia. At one point during the tour, he comes across a fake wall in the kitchen and follows an old set of stairs down to a secret basement. The basement extends for a long time further and further underground, eventually opening up into a long white room that's completely bare, except for cabinets lining the far wall. Connected to this room are two other smaller rooms about the size of a closet. They each give him a bad feeling. The two smaller rooms are dark and soundproof. Strangest of all, the doors only have knobs on the outside. I don't know why the mob would have needed a soundproof room that nobody could escape from, and I don't want to know. That's all he finds. Hidden inside the ventilation shaft of one of the rooms is what appears to be a single spent bullet casing. Maxim enters another terrifying witch's house in this paranormal investigation. As soon as he walks in, the demon lets him know he is there. But it's when he lights up these demon dolls with ritualistic symbols drawn on them that he faces the real terror. While these may not be voodoo dolls, it certainly seems that Maxim just lit up the devil. The awful sound coming from the spirit box seems to be coming straight from the fiery depths below. You'd think Satan would be used to a bit of fire. Bike Jin goes exploring haunted places in an undisclosed Arabic-speaking country and comes across a house I think I might have seen before in other videos. A house that should stay hidden but always gets explored. I think a lot of paranormal exploration channels come here because so much scary stuff happens almost every time. Weird things caught on camera like this. He waits until the flames die down and takes a few hesitant steps into the haunted bedroom. I don't understand why he turns his light off during the scariest moment, because that's when you would need your flashlight the most. It doesn't seem like a normal reaction, and the only reason I can think of is to let somebody set a controlled flame as part of a prepared stunt, which means this video, however creepy it may be, also has a strong chance of not being paranormal. I'll keep an eye out for other paranormal videos from this location, and if you know the name and country of this abandoned house, please let me know. Any information would be a great help. A group of friends are recording themselves lifting weights and basically just joking around in a small gym. The situation suddenly becomes very serious when one of them leaves the room and then comes rushing back to bang on the glass for help.
You say I'm gonna pick you up.
4.
No way. What? What is he? What are you doing?
A tentacle-like appendage seems to wrap around their friend's waist and pulls him away. The group goes outside and searches for their friend Nathan, but he has vanished. Then another friend goes missing too.
There.
Nathan, come on.
I could count as one.
Open the door. Open the back.
The two survivors run back into the building to talk about what just happened. One of them is in complete denial and thinks that they are simply being pranked. They are talking about whether this is really happening or not, when suddenly their worst fears are confirmed.
You're not laughing at this? This is crazy. This is hilarious. That's nasty. That's nasty.
Well, there is a strong possibility that this could be CGI. The uploader has not come out and said that this was a short film. Instead, they insist it's real. Most of the people in the comments section agree that this is authentic, but I definitely like to hear what you think. A YouTuber named Steve Huff records what he suspects could be a paranormal sighting at the Longleat House in England, built in the late 1500s. A spirit descends the steps and then continues to walk in midair in heavy, plodding footsteps. Some people are claiming that this is some kind of hologram projection, while others say this is real. If you've ever been to the Longleat House in England, then let us know if this is just a tourist attraction, so we can settle the rumors once and for all. Everything Paranormal Show gets in on the scary Randonautica video craze, and goes randonauting with paranormal creepy stuff in mind.
Now, just to let you know, my intent was paranormal creepy.
The TikTok app takes him to a random address, and he waits for some creepy stuff to begin, which it most certainly does.
We've got, like I said, this dude's checking me out. I wanted something creepy. Yeah, this dude's just standing here, freaking staring at me.
Before he knows it, somebody is standing near his car. They're not moving, just staring him down. To be fair, what to him is a creepy man could just be someone wandering, who is in their parking space. But even when he leaves, the man is standing completely still, simultaneously staring at nothing in particular, and everything all at once. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Eric relies on Randonautica to show them the scariest place they've ever seen, and it doesn't let them down. They soon find themselves at the end of a long dirt road with multiple signs, and one of them is a warning. Google wasn't able to translate the wording perfectly, but apparently this sign says that the property is owned by a dangerous witch who has eyes on them at all times. If someone could tell me the full message, I would really appreciate it. They find 2 fences lined with creepy dolls. Some of the dolls are burned and have parts missing, as if they were used for black magic rituals before being placed on display as a warning for all to see. It must have taken a lot of time and dedication to collect so many dolls, and I wouldn't be surprised if the children who own them are being kept somewhere nearby. At the end of the road, they find 3 homemade mannequins wearing old clothes that could be scarecrows for a small garden, or more ritual props.
Do you guys see that?
Something looks weird about the one on the left. When they get closer, since I don't see any crops, I don't think it's a garden. The way this is all set up looks more like a memorial, if anything. I wouldn't be surprised if some passed on individuals were buried below the earth here, and I don't think I want to find out. A little farther up the trail, they find this old shack that looks more like a place to hold somebody, or something creepy like that rather than a place to live. They are about to explore the shed when they feel distant eyes upon them and go running. I have to say, that seems like the right choice. Nursing homes are rife with elderly spirits that just cannot move on. This surveillance footage may have caught one of them. Posted to YouTube by RiceRV4 in September of 2012, this clip is surveillance footage of the Niles Nursing Center, as indicated by the sign in the hallway. The clip shows the elevator door drawing open with no one exiting. Then off to the right, what appears to be a cane slides across the floor in the hallway. It also moves to one side apparently on its own, before several people are seen passing through the hallway, and someone finally picks the cane up and places it out of harm's way, leaning it against the wall. The cane then disappears altogether without anyone making an appearance. YouTube commenters suggest that the ghost may have been trying to trip people with the placement of the cane. One commenter in particular, Siege Crows, suggests that they have some inside info on the case. He writes, "Super surprised that this got out after how hard the nurses and the people are trying to keep it a secret." In response to this, YouTuber Silent Night Crew states that he was an off-duty cop working security the night that this happened, and the man who leaked it was fired. Whether or not this is true, I think it's safe to say you wouldn't want to be working security when something like this happens. Warning, if you summon La Llorona, prepare for the worst. While investigating the Hinsdale house, YouTuber Mo Sargi summoned the Weeping Woman, and he lived to regret it. While speaking through a spirit box, he received some answers.
Was there actually an exorcism here? Oh my, that was a yes.
And like an evil. Like it was mad.
But the interview is cut short.
Was it a priest? Behind you! Behind you! What? Behind you! Something just f***ing appeared behind you! Something just f***ing appeared behind you!
What?
Like a f***ing mist! Like a
Oh
white
my
mist.
god!
Holy f***!
I don't blame him. I'd be done too if I'd just seen La Llorona in the flesh. A YouTuber named Bad Choice Noah decides to live up to his name by feeding his huge collection of snakes alone in the dark at 3 a.m. He's hoping to catch something paranormal on video while he's at it, but something almost catches him instead.
Go, Ricky. Oh, God, I almost just got destroyed by him.
The large snake misses its target and nearly peels out of its container onto the floor. Noah's incredibly lucky to have pulled his hand away in time, or the snake would have had that to bite on instead. This YouTube channel is dedicated to finding a local legend known only as the Clover Forest creature. Two friends are investigating an area of the woods where the last sighting was reported when they detect what appears to be a pair of eyes staring at them from across a creek.
Whoa, get down. Oh my god, that's it. I think so.
At first I thought this could just be one of their friends wearing a mask with glowing red eyes, but watch this next part and tell me what you think. The eyes briefly go away and then reappear, which makes me think that this creature is blinking.
No, keep your light on it, keep your light on it.
Soon the Clover Forest creature walks away and is not seen again. It's too bad that they didn't have a high beam flashlight to shine across the creek and solve the mystery once and for all. Still, tell me whether you think this video is scripted or real based on the 11 seconds of video I was able to show. This video is taken one summer on Vancouver Island in Canada. A YouTuber named Mushmaster is on a hike when he sees a huge humanoid creature that he still can't explain to this day over 10 years later. According to Mushmaster, the creature was 7 feet tall and stood on its hind legs to stare at him, but by the time he started recording, it was already hunched over and taking off. At first I thought it was a bear, but look closer and you can almost make out the upper body of a human, especially the shoulders. It looks far more human than a bear judging from the way it walks away. In the end the creature chooses to leave Mushmaster alone in the woods, wondering what he had just encountered. Let me know what you think it was based on the brief video that I've shown you. No one has been able to solve this in over a decade. A janitor is closing up a restaurant in San Francisco called The Chapel, which is said to be haunted by the ghost of a small girl. As soon as he is done locking the door, something tries to leave and then runs away. If she was afraid of getting locked in, why didn't she bang on the door to be let out? Also, how come she didn't say anything when all of the lights turned off? On the contrary, if this was instead a real person trying to sneak in, then she probably wouldn't immediately try to open the door because it could set off an alarm. I guess she could just be making sure the janitor really is leaving. But since this restaurant is said to be haunted by the ghost of a small girl, I believe this could be her. A man believes the stairwell in his apartment is haunted by a creature that's not paranormal, but not human. He thinks he sees movement and says this is a still image. The image has gone viral, so I wanted to analyze the video. The video does not look nearly as convincing as the image, which is often the case because it is harder to animate than Photoshop. The figure shows a convincing lack of realistic movement as it dips back into the darkened doorway from where it came. So if you've ever seen this popular picture and were wondering what the accompanying video looked like, now you know. This video was recorded in Portugal sometime in 2001. It starts out with a group of friends just playing around with a home camera, which was pretty much considered a novelty back then. They are filming everything in the house for no reason at all for a long time, until they get bored and decide to try and contact some spirits. To do this, they make one of their friends named Nelson stand in a circle and concentrate in silence. Maybe it's just the power of suggestion, but Nelson sways for a bit and then tumbles to the ground. They aren't sure what to make of this. At this point, neither am I. So they make Nelson do it again, as they are trying to summon a spirit through Nelson for a second time. Something unexpected happens. This time another friend, Celestino, falls to the ground and begins convulsing. When he gets up, he is no longer the same person. If Celestino is acting here, he's doing an excellent job. Look at how his shoulder blades come jutting out of his back as he stands up aggressively. That definitely does not look normal. The rest of the video is them tracking Celestino as he behaves strangely outside. They don't know what to do, but at the same time they don't want to lose sight of him. Eventually they get split up, and when the one with the camera finds his friends again, none of them are in good shape.
Merda, foda-se, que é isto? O que é isto? Merda!
I really hope that this was just a fake video. It does almost seem like the Blair Witch Project at times, which was very popular in 2001. Then again, I wouldn't underestimate the power behind conjuring spirits. So I'll leave it up to you to decide. Do you feel like someone's pursuing you? Then you should probably trust your gut. Published to YouTube by Upbeat Yamaha in February of 2019. This video follows a motorcyclist minding his own business on the open road. Wearing a GoPro, he manages to capture a white truck in front of him, nothing out of the ordinary. Ahead, the truck pulls over to the side of the road. This too appears innocent enough, but after passing the white truck and later taking a turn onto a side street, seeing the truck continue along, you probably wouldn't expect what comes next. The biker returns to the main road, and the same white truck now a ways ahead pulls over again, letting him pass a second time. The biker starts to wonder what's going on. Even more worrisome, he thinks the truck is following him. He suspects the driver might be trying to record his license plate to report him for something, although he says he hasn't done anything to report. He again pulls over at an intersection and attempts to wait out the suspect, who has stopped as well. The biker says the man in the truck is attempting to wave him on. After a brief face-off, the biker turns to the left, noting the guy's plate number and saying he was taking pictures of him. While the video doesn't come to any concrete conclusion about what the white truck wanted, the biker suspects that he's dealt with the same man before. Some in the comments think it's probably just some angry boomer who's mad about how loud the bike is. Others advise that if this happens again, to pull into a fire station, as they most certainly will help someone being followed. A cautionary tale if there ever was one. For all we know, this lurker could have had even more sinister motives. A family watches television while one of them checks their phone in the dining room. No one is near the refrigerator, and yet somehow this happens. On a different day, their motion-activated camera, which this family says does not turn on for dust, records this strange light for just a second, and then nothing else for the rest of the night. Everything starts to become clear when this larger light floats into the driver's seat and then disappears. The family's grandmother passed away 2 years ago, and this is what she used to drive. All 3 videos, when combined with the recent passing, makes me think that their grandmother might be checking in on them, even from the afterlife. A TikToker named Rosie43201 says that this curtain started moving by itself while she was all alone. Since her cats are not close by and the air conditioner isn't on, the only explanation I have is that there's somehow a draft coming in through the window. If that's not the case, then I have no idea what could be moving this, and if she doesn't feel alone like she claims, then I'd say there's a strong chance that this is a real ghost. These contractors find themselves stuck on a roof after their ladder collapses, leaving them stranded 14 feet in the air with no way down. Soon they improvise a safety harness that looks to be little more than some cords haphazardly knotted together. I really doubt this design would realistically hold his weight, but let me know what you think. They are trying to figure out what to do next when they see something in the distance. Watch his feet closely and tell me if he looks like he almost loses his balance at the end.
There's a car! Come on!
Oh, come on! Hey!
Hey!
He carefully lowers himself to the bottom and manages not to break the harness. The harness appears to be very loose at the end and could have come undone at any second. They show the drop at the end and it definitely looks like they were high up enough to cause some serious damage. This creepy and unexplained video has been unsettling people since 2016. It starts with a man who looks like he is just goofing around at first by making a weird voice and singing loudly.
힘이 없다는 걸.
His mannerisms become more bizarre and aggressive until finally he is shrieking like a wild animal and destroying the whole room. When he regains his composure and lowers the blinds, you can see that he is standing in the middle of a children's room. There's no sounds of a child though, which makes me wonder if there ever was one to begin with, or if it's been somehow silenced. This creepy and unexplained video has been unsettling people since 2016. It starts with a man who looks like he is just goofing around at first by making a weird voice and singing loudly.
힘이 없다는 걸.
His mannerisms become more bizarre and aggressive until finally he is shrieking like a wild animal and destroying the whole room. When he regains his composure and lowers the blinds, you can see that he is standing in the middle of a children's room. There's no sounds of a child though, which makes me wonder if there ever was one to begin with, or if it's been somehow silenced. Amritesh Malan has caught what he calls a mysterious creature on camera in India. It looks like a regular person, but they think it's a humanoid creature with its upper torso twisted all the way around. It sits with its legs pointed away while simultaneously looking at them, and look at its weird unnaturally long arm. I question if this video is real because at 14 seconds, the alleged creature kind of bumps into something and there's a cut in the video because he has to stop. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.